So the first thing that we're going to do a training on today is looking at what parts of the IEP that you're responsible for doing. So the very first thing you're going to look at is data consideration. If you are an ELA or a math teacher, your job is to look at the student strengths. Please add anything appropriately. At this point, hopefully a science or social studies teacher has already filled in this portion of it, so you can kind of review it and see if there's anything else that you want to add academically. Then when you look at the rest of this, not any of this portion of data consideration is your responsibility. That will be someone else. You will not have to worry about that part. So then when you come down here, there is a portion that you are going to be responsible for. So in box 3, data sources, you're responsible for any classroom data. So prior to any IEP meeting, you will have at least 3 data points that will be considered to create your PLEP. Those data points need to be put in here in this box number 3. And then you're also going to put the last progress update of their old IEP. So if their old IEP ended as marking period 2, that marking period progress update will be put in there. The other things that are going to be in this box, that will be the responsibility of either a science or social studies person, where they are going to put in the psych evaluation information, the mapped scores, and the smarter balance scores. Then you come down here and you're responsible for box 4. Box 4 is a description. Look at it as a description for either related arts teachers or next year's teachers of that child's difficulties in the classroom, and then what accommodations that you give to that child in order to make them more successful. So you're going to fill in that information here. It's about a paragraph. It does not need to be every accommodation. It should be individualized. Each one of these impact statements should be different for each student, because every student obviously is not learning in the same format as everyone else. Box 5 will be the responsibility of someone who creates the behavioral goals. They will go ahead and add anything else additional that might be needed. Then the next part that is your responsibility is the needs and present level or annual goal. You're going to add that need. So here you're going to put math problem solving, if that is your need. And then you are going to be putting in your accommodations here. Please make sure your accommodations are as detailed as possible. We want to stay away from words like as needed. So preferential seating, don't just put preferential seating. You need to go ahead and put preferential seating near a positive role model, near a teacher, near instruction. So just being descriptive as possible. And then a lot of times looking at flexible grouping you might want to put in there. So different things that you want to put in there, but make sure they're as detailed as possible. And then you're going to add your statement of service, specialized instruction, and whatever it may be, reading comprehension, math problem solving. The start dates, so make sure your start dates are accurate. There will always be dates up here at this particular sample one. There is not, because there's not per se set a date, but for all the ones you will see in there, those dates that are up here needs to match the dates that you guys put here. A lot of times I see those dates empty, so please make sure you're filling it in. The next part is a statement of service. Please look at the child's true needs to figure out the statement of service. Sometimes the student really does need more of your time. They need more of your time. You need to be documenting that. So you're really looking at how much time you are spending to give them this instructional that they need. Maybe some kids might be just twice per week. Some kids might be 3 times a week. Some kids might be 5 minutes. So you have to really look at what their actual needs are. And then the next part is a setting. General education setting is if they're an inclusion classroom, and then a small group classroom would have special education. You would then add in their PLEP, which would be their current progress updates. Make sure when you add that in that you are using the 3 data points that we discussed earlier, and probably be as specific as possible to what you're currently seeing. And we like to see 2 out of 3 trials, something along that lines. Then you will have your annual goal, and then in between that you will be adding your benchmarks. Please make sure that you have 4 benchmarks, and make sure your benchmarks are matching currently. So right now we are a 3rd marking period, so we would have marking period 3, 4, 1, or 2. Look for the notifications for when the marking period change. It changes 2 weeks prior to the end of a marking period. So you know that we would then go from marking period 4, 1, 2, 3. So please pay attention to those different points. And then as you're progressing, make sure that your goal is progressing at a pretty good amount. I don't want to see a change from the beginning, the PLEP, to the goal to be as low as, 6 or 8%. I'm really looking at making a detailed goal as possible. We'll be doing more training on that later on. And thank you. That kind of gives you a little overview for what your responsibilities are.